Hello, wonderful audience. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Baron Skryne. We hope you find it enlightening. Baron Skryne was the title of the holder of an Irish feudal barony, the title derived from the parish of Skryne, or Skreen, in County Meath. It was not recognised as a barony in the Peerage of Ireland, but was habitually used firstly by the Feypo family and then by their descendants, the Marwards. The Barons of Skryne were not entitled as of right to sit in the Irish House of Lords, although it seems that in practice the holder of the title was often summoned to the Irish Parliament. The title fell into disuse in the 17th century, when the family estates were forfeited to the English crown. Thomas Marward, having been the last Baron of Skryne, died in 1568 without male inheritors. In this chapter, we'll be shedding light on the Feypo Barons of Skryne and its role in shaping our understanding. Hugh de Lacy, Lord of Meath in 1173, granted the lands of Skryne and Santry to his lieutenant Adam de Feypo, who was the first of his family to use the title Baron of Skryne. Despite Adam's loyalty to Hugh de Lacy, his son Richard, 2nd Baron Skryne, witnessed a charter in 1210 forfeiting the de Lacy inheritance. A later Richard, perhaps the first Richard's grandson, died in the reign of Edward I, leaving an underage son, Simon. In 1302 Simon, by then an adult, brought a successful lawsuit against his former guardian Theobald de Verdun for wasting his inheritance. The last of the de Feypo Barons of Skryne, Francis, founded an Augustinian friary and a chantry about 1340. In this chapter, we'll be shedding light on Marward Barons of Skryne and its role in shaping our understanding. Francis's daughter and heiress Catherine de Feypo married Thomas Marward in about 1375. Lord Francis's eldest son and heir John de Feypo, along with his son, also called John, had died before Francis and Catherine became heiress to Skryne. Robert de Feypo, Catherine's surviving brother, must have been somewhat out of sorts, as he should have been the rightful heir. There had been de Feypos holding the title of Baron for 5 generations. Robert lived in Santry Castle near Dunboyne, and his descendants also used the title Baron Skryne. When the Marwards first adopted the title Baron Skryne is uncertain, but it was certainly before 1414, when Thomas Marward, Baron Skryne, was killed taking part in putting down a rebellion by O'Connor Fahey. His son, also called Thomas, being a minor, was made a royal ward, and in 1422 King Henry VI of England granted the worship to Stephen de Bray, the Chief Justice of the Irish Common Pleas. Their elder Thomas's widow Joan was given the required royal licence to remarry whom she pleased in 1415. In 1459, an Act of the Parliament of Ireland authorised a payment of 10 shillings to Richard Marward, Baron of Skryne, for his services. A few years later, Anne Marward, described as the daughter of Baron Skryne, almost certainly Richard, who died in 1478, married as his first wife Sir Alexander Plunkett, died 1503, a future Lord Chancellor of Ireland. Walter Marward, Baron Skryne, died 1487, who was probably Anne's brother, was apparently a man of some consequence, who married Margaret Street Lawrence, daughter of the powerful Anglo-Irish peer and statesman Christopher Street Lawrence, 2nd Baron Howth. After Skryne's death, she remarried Sir William Darcy of Platton, another leading Anglo-Irish statesman and writer on political issues. William Nugent, the second son of Richard, Baron Delvin, married Janet Marward, only daughter and heiress of Walter Marward, Baron of Skryne, who died c. 1565, and inherited with this marriage the manor of Santry among other possessions. In the 16th century, the Marward family were involved in 2 notable scandals. In 1534, James Marward, Baron Skryne, grandson of Walter and Margaret, was murdered by Richard Fitzgerald, younger son of Gerald Fitzgerald, 8th Earl of Kildare, supposedly at the instigation of James' wife, Maud Darcy, who later married Fitzgerald. James left an only son, Thomas or Walter, who died about 1565, leaving a daughter and heiress, Janet, titular Barons of Skryne. Her mother, Janet Plunkett, daughter of Sir John Plunkett, remarried the leading judge Nicholas Nugent, who was given worship of his stepdaughter. Nugent apparently conspired with his favourite nephew, William Nugent, to kidnap Janet and force her into marriage with William. Despite the scandal surrounding the marriage, it could not be dissolved. William died in 1625 and Janet in 1629. Let's now shift gears and explore forfeiture of the barony through a critical lens, uncovering its strengths and weaknesses. The Skryne inheritance passed to James Nugent, eldest son of William and Janet, but his lands were forfeited to the English crown after he took part in the Irish Rebellion of 1641, and the title lapsed. Now we shift our focus to list of the Barons Skryne de Feypo, extinct by 1375, a topic that deserves our attention. List of the Barons Skryne de Feypo, extinct by 1375. Incomplete. Lissedum de Feypo, Baron Skryne died. Richard de Feypo, Baron Skryne living 1210. Richard de Feypo, Baron Skryne living 1290. Simon de Feypo, Baron Skryne living 1302. Francis de Feypo, Baron Skryne died before 1375. Now let's redirect our focus towards list of the Barons Skryne Marward, extinct, and discover its significance in our narrative. List of the Barons Skryne Marward, extinct. Incomplete. List them as Marward. Baron Skryne killed 1414. Thomas Marward, Baron Skryne living 1422. Richard Marward, Baron Skryne described as Baron in 1459, died 1478. Walter Marward, Baron Skryne died 1487. Thomas Marward, Baron Skryne 1484. 1503. James Marward, Baron Skryne 1501. 1534. Walter Marward, Baron Skryne died. Brace yourself for an enlightening exploration of list of the Barons Skryne Nugent, forfeited 1641, as we dive into its profound implications. List of the Barons Skryne Nugent, forfeited. Janet Marward Nugent, Baroness Skryne died 1629. James Nugent, Baron Skryne died after 1641. Stay connected and join our community by subscribing and following me on other platforms.